Welcome back to Yogi Food, the show where we take healthy recipes and we try them out for the first time, or we take not so healthy recipes and see if we can make them better for us. First food video of 2024, first food video in our own house. It's been a minute since I uploaded anything. A lot has changed since then. Obviously, we moved into our own house. We're not in our tiny little apartment kitchen anymore. If you hear little feet moving around, we got a little puppy for our wedding anniversary, so he's running around while I cook. But yeah, welcome to 2024. Today's recipe is going to be a breakfast dish. This has become one of the favorites in our household. It's really easy. It's really cheap to make too, and there's a lot of versatility. It's pretty healthy depending on what all you add in it, but we're going to be making breakfast pizza today. So instead of a crust, I use a tortilla. And then recently I decided to try cutting out gluten and see how I feel. So far I like it. I've stuck with it for, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks now. It's helped a lot with digestion issues, and honestly it's made a big difference with my anxiety. So I'm probably going to stick it out a little bit longer. So I'm going to be using gluten-free tortillas. And then for my husband's, I'm just going to use a regular burrito tortilla. I like the size of this one better, excuse me, because it's a little bit easier to work with. The dish that we're going to be using is a pie plate. So I've got 2 little shallow pie plates. We're just going to put the tortilla down in it and then put all of our ingredients inside. I will be using full eggs, but you can cut out the yolk if you want to, if you're trying to reduce the fat that you take in. But it's really just up to your preference. It won't make a big difference. The first time I made this, I wanted it to be more of a Mediterranean style. So I added chopped red onions and feta cheese, and I really liked the feta in there. So ideally that's what I would use, but I haven't been to the grocery store in a while. So I'll be using Colby Jack for mine and mozzarella for my husband's. I also have chopped bell pepper and diced tomatoes, but you can add whatever you want to. If we've put strips of bacon in it before, like turkey bacon is pretty good. You could add spinach. Anything that you would really put in an omelet or a quiche would go well with this. Before we get started, we are going to preheat the oven. So it's been kind of an experiment figuring out how long to cook it. Today we're going to shoot for 15 minutes, but I'm going to preheat the oven to 375. There we go. All right, so that's preheating. And then we're going to prep our eggs. So I've tried it beating the eggs in a cup first. I've tried putting the tortilla down and beating the eggs in the tortilla, and obviously it's easier in the cup because you're not ripping the tortilla. So that's how we're going to do it, but I am going to put the toppings in separately. So this is just to get the eggs horrible, so that it's not just like, if you're using egg whites it won't make a difference, but if you have yolks in there, they're just going to cook like fried eggs instead of mixed well. So we're going to do that really fast. I'm going to use 3 eggs per pizza, but feel free to use more or less. Just know that if you do choose to do fewer eggs, your pizza just won't be as thick and sturdy, so to speak. So eggs are a really good way to add protein. We've been really focusing lately on starting our day with high protein foods. So Greek yogurt, scrambled or fried eggs, cottage cheese. So filling up on protein, it keeps us full longer so that we're not spending all morning just waiting for lunch. And it really helps prevent trying to catch up for the rest of the day to make sure that you eat enough protein. So starting really early with the protein is really helpful. I really need a new pepper dispenser. So I'm going to put pepper and salt in ours. but you can season however you like. Lots of freedom with this one. And then I'm just going to take a fork and I'm going to break up the yolks and mix in the salt and pepper just so it's a little bit easier to pour into the shell. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to take the tortillas now. And there's really no prep work necessary for the tortilla unless you want to add like some butter to it. They do get pretty crispy. The butter really, we're not worried about the eggs and stuff sticking to the tortilla. That's the goal. So they don't really stick to the pie plates either. So I'll leave that up to you guys. The gluten-free one, it's an experiment. So it doesn't really cover, it covers just the bottom and not like the edges. So I might spray that one. I just don't want my eggs to get stuck to my pie plate. So I am going to grease this one a little bit. But the other one covers the edges completely, so I won't worry about that one. Okay. So then we're just going to straight into the pan, dump your eggs. Okay. And then I'm just kind of going to shake it around and give it an even layer. Make sure that there's no clumps. It's all going to cook evenly. There's not going to be one spot that's still wet while the rest of it is overcooked. Okay. Now, I'm going to add in my veggie toppings. Now, if you are using bacon, I would go ahead and throw that in now. Just so I like when all of my pizza toppings are sealed in with the cheese. So that is my goal. I'm going to put all the toppings on first. And then put the cheese on top. Okay. And then the tomato. I've heard a lot of people lately making scrambled eggs with cottage cheese mixed in it to make them a little bit fluffier and increase the protein. I personally don't like the way that it tastes mixed together. I prefer just to keep them separate, but if that's something that you want to try to add a little bit more texture and increase the amount of protein in your pizza, definitely try that if you want to. Let me know what it tastes like. I would be curious to find out. Okay, got the tomato and bell pepper. Again, usually I would put bacon or spinach on here. It has been a really good one to help hold the shape of the pizza, but we're just going to cover it with our vegetables and cheese. So I'm going to be very generous with the cheese. Again, the level of healthiness in this meal really depends on what you put on it. If you dump a ton of cheese on it, it's going to be full of fat. If you fill it with bacon, that will also increase the fat and the sodium content. You could balance that by cutting out the yolk and only using egg whites. And have a little egg white quiche. That gives you a little bit more freedom to add the fat and the cheese and bacon. And for his, I'm going to put mozzarella, additional pizza cheese. Okay. So, pizzas are made. Kind of try to show you a little bit without spilling it. So I don't know how well you can see that. So that's the gluten-free one. Now we are just going to wait for the oven to finish preheating. As you can see, this took absolutely no time. This is a super easy dish. It's taking longer to wait for the oven to be hot enough than it is to actually prepare it. So once the oven is fully preheated, I'm going to throw it in for 15 minutes and I will check back in with you guys after that and see what it looks like. The timer just went off. It smells pretty good. We're going to take a peek and see if the eggs are cooked all the way. Hey, don't do that. Hey. He's too curious for his own good. He wants to get into the oven. Back up. They look pretty good, honestly. So here is, oop, it's gonna slide out of the pan. Here is the regular one. Okay, take it out. No. And then here's the gluten-free one. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? I'm excited about those. Okay. Well, we're gonna let them cool off. Hopefully they will just slide right out of the pan. I can cut them with a pizza cutter and they will be ready for dinner. So once we eat dinner and we give it a try, I will let you know how they taste. My husband, fresh home from work, he is going to try the pizza for us. So go ahead, this one is yours, this one's the gluten-free one. So your pizza has 605 calories. It has 25 grams of fat, 62 grams of carbs, and 32 whole grams of protein. Yours also has mozzarella cheese and mine doesn't. So mine only has 455 calories, like 19 grams of fat, 51 grams of carbs, and 22 grams of protein. So mine only has the Colby Jack cheese, and it also did something weird with the tortilla. It had a tortilla on the bottom. It didn't like hold its shape. So it just kind of looks like a thin crust pizza, I guess, but it did something weird, and it was really hard to get out of the pan. So, rating of 1 to 10. How do you like it?
It's a solid 9.
Solid 9? Okay. Thank you for your participation. What would you switch to make it a 10? What could we have done better for you, sir?
I just like my food a little spicy.
A little bit of Creole for you.
A little Creole.
Okay. Well, that's the first food video of 2024. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being my lovely guest. Come back in a couple weeks. We're going to have a yoga video focusing on core. But thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.